Alright, now that we're done with stretching, we're pretty much in the home stretch. So we want to pull up this RGB combination. Should say luminance here. This is all fine. Take this little arrow, bring it over to here. Notice it really washes this out. So, what can we learn from this? What this probably is that that's not great. So let's try if we turn down the lightness a bit. No, that's the wrong direction. Okay, so we're going to turn up the lightness a bit. What we're really trying to do is find a middle ground where we still have our color, and it's not too dark because you can see it's kind of dark there. We also don't turn everything into a pinkish or a whitish. Yeah, so that's too much still. Let's try that. It's better. So this is a step where you're just trying to really play around with it, get color out of it. You want your color and your contrast, because you'll see here, like, really up the contrast and you get all this fine detail. You just want to be careful you are not absolutely blowing it out the water. So like right there, that's actually quite nice. It's a little bit, still a little bit spiky. I think it's a bit brighter. What if we did that? Let's try that again. This is again one of those things where really just playing around helps. Really, you can see how it, like, once you have a dark background, you just really get a dark background, but you also kind of, you lose some of the detail that's up here. We know it's up there, so don't really want to lose all of that detail. You can see, like, there, between there, this little flare right here really loses a lot. So maybe turn that down, that up a bit. Try that. Nope, we should turn this back up. Oh man, this back. All right. What happens if we lower that a bit more? So really, this is just a case of playing around with it, trying to get it to look good. It's not. It's a little bit too much. So what if we just like right there? Maybe that's the sweet spot. Yeah. So now you get all this nice and bright detail. And look, you can see this like really bright streak right through there. It looks great. It'll make a really striking image too. Okay. So once we're good with that, so this next step, so you want to run noise exterminator again. The asterisk here is that sometimes it'll be a little bit much, and if that's the case, then you can kind of turn these down so that it is less bad. But I actually think we don't have that much noise, so it shouldn't be too bad. You can see here, really, just cleans that up. And especially once you have a background, it transforms it into like a very uniform color. And so, well, you don't notice much of a change. It's just nice, and you get detail. And then when you're looking close at it, it doesn't feel grainy. It feels more consistent. Okay. The next thing to do is this: is a curves transformation. So this is something that I like to do, especially if I feel like I'm not getting enough detail out of it. So it's kind of after all this. So this is just an exaggeration to show you like there's still more detail in here that I could feel like we can pull out. So I like doing like taking you take that point and really crank it down. So that, oh, please stop making new points. Okay, so maybe not there. Let's just reset that. You can see here like you can get some more detail out of it, but we just risk making it a bit too bright. You really should not like. I'm always very wary of things that are above 9 brightness because they just don't feel like a 9.8 is really bright. 9.9 is very bright. So it's not always my favorite. It's not always necessary. Sometimes just doing it just a little bit is really nice, especially if you don't over brighten the background too much, because then you just get a nice pop. So I like that. So let's just keep that. I don't like it. It's a bit too much. And then this becomes okay. I like that. We got that there. And then the last thing that we do here that I like doing is I like throwing another round of blur exterminator at it. And what this really helps with is like the sharpness of the image. So once this finishes, I'll work through and show you, but it really like just getting very crisp, clean borders on some of the nebulosity. So that's too much. Clearly, like you can see that, oh, that's a bit too much. It creates these like weird dots and doesn't look right. So we'll just turn it down a bit. Probably should run it again. And really what we're just doing is trying to get it sharp. Yeah, it's still making dots, which I don't love. Like you can see how sharp it gets, but it's making these weird dots, and I'm not sure I love it. What if we just tell it to not sharpen stars, so it doesn't think it's sharpening any stars? Let's try turning this down a bit more, and then really just getting it to only look at brightness, because hopefully that will make it nicer. As you can see here, really nice and sharp. And did it make any of our dart friends? I don't think it did. Okay, there we go. So look at that. Like, isn't that just like just looking at those details, you just really see it come out, right? Especially if you're like medium zoom, you can just see how sharp it is. It just makes it look nice. All right, so I'm pretty happy with this. This is a good opportunity to save this because now you've incorporated the luminance, you've adjusted it so it's all RGB, everything. You can close that luminance should have been able to close a long time ago. This is our final step. So we take our stars. Now our stars are stretched, right? Have their auto stretch. So again, we're going to take that off. We're going to go to our Process Explorer. I'm going to go to, I believe it is SETI Astro, right? Yep. I'm going to go SETI Astro. We go to Star Stretch. I'm going to tell it stretch RGB underscore stars. Show preview. Zoom that like 1 to 8. Just because we want it. Go to see. Really what you're looking for. So that's a bit too much because you really don't want any of the like diffraction spikes. That's better. Actually, take that. That's even better. Alright. I like playing with the color boost a bit. Just because it makes them pop. Alright, pretty happy with that. We get all of our nice stars over here. Nothing too bright, but it all looks pretty nice. And then our last step, we go back to our Process Explorer. Cosmic photons, screen stars, star replacement, and then you see here stars get added back in. Press our check, and we can X that out, and there we go. So that right there, save that again. See if that's so I can close it. Oh, please stop. And there you go. There's your final image. So you get all this nice detail, and you get this nice flare. All of your stars. This nice sharpness. You can see here that the star, the blurriness around the star doesn't really matter because you've added the star back. And so it actually just kind of serves to highlight them. Get this nice, pretty picture. And you want to do, again, Command-Shift-S. You can save this. Usually I save it as final. I'm going to save it as final 2. So save it .xisf so that you have the full version of the image. And then you're going to save it again. And then as a PNG. And this one, it'll complain about. Let's see if it complains. And those here. Insufficient numerical actually and data storage capabilities. That's just because it doesn't like it. So it is now saved to PNG. This is your final image. And there you go. You've processed an image. This works really well with nebula and with galaxies both. With globular clusters, it's a bit weird since they're all stars. And I'm actually not entirely sure how to process them, but most of the pictures we take are these. Anyways, so this is not the best. I think actually I like my original. I think I like the way I processed this image originally better. But you can see really the kind of even working from the same data with the same with the same person, you can get two quite different images. Actually, you can see here this background is it's very blue-green, much less red, and this one is much blacker. So I actually might like this one more. So I do think that you get more of this nice, like, look at all the detail that you get here that you don't get as much here. So there's ups and downs. You can process the same image a million times, but there you go. So here's the image we processed together, and thank you for watching.